Good morning. Welcome to Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran. This is a new series of talks, Psychology in Practice, and is inspired by the thought Sarve, Bhavantu, Sukhinaha. Arunima Ankuran is an initiative for positive social change through self-development. The goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. And at Arunima Ankuran, we believe that each person is unique and special in some way. Each one of us can make a difference. Each one of us can be change makers. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, that is Psychology in Practice series, is inspired by the idea that psychology has so much to offer to the real world. Some of you may recall the movie Do Aankhein Bara Haath. So this section of Ek Samvaad is an effort to share valuable ideas from the various branches of psychology that could help and make a positive difference in everyday lives of people. Psychology is the study of the mind and behavior. As a student of psychology, I have often wished that researchers and academicians could share inputs from their work and experience to help those outside the classroom or laboratory. So this series is inspired by that idea, the idea of enhancing well-being and happiness through practicable lessons from psychologists who belong to different branches such as abnormal, clinical, cognitive, counseling, developmental, educational, organizational, sports. This is the beginning of a new journey. Thank you for being a part of it. Our guest today is Dr. Beena. She is a pioneer and expert in the field of cognitive psychology. She is an emeritus professor, Department of Prisons and Correctional Services, Telangana. She has held many positions, including the first female registrar of Osmania University, director of ICSSR Southern Region, dean of Shatwana University for Social Sciences, head of Department of Psychology of Osmania University, deputy director of Academic Staff College. She has played a key role in 15 research projects for organizations such as the ISRO, European Union, Global Fund Round 7, ICSSR, and UGC. She's received some awards in honor of her work, the Ashoka Fellowship, which is the highest international recognition for social entrepreneurs and changemakers, Ashoka Changemakers grant as a collaborator in 2020, State Best Teacher Award, State Innovation Prize, Shri Chinnajiyar Swami Shashti Spurti Award. Dr. Beena has a passion for social reformation and has conceived an innovative correctional program called Unnati, which is currently being implemented in Telangana prisons. Based on patterns of external societal triggers and patterns of erroneous responses, Dr. Beena developed a set of critical practices that prisoners could apply and shapes them into training modules. Her faculty brings in their first-hand experience with crime to tweak and impart these modules to prisoners in 3-week workshops. She was invited by the esteemed Harvard University to present her work, which is a rare honor. So, cognitive psychology in practice. This is the true story of how a psychologist is transforming lives and inspiring people in prisons to lead meaningful lives. We would like you to say something to start with, ma'am, to introduce the program and how it originated.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much, and a big namaskar to all the viewers. Happy to be here, and it's very difficult to say no to a student who was my first top 5 among first top 5. I'm very happy to be here and happy to talk about the program which we are doing. What else a psychologist would do? Sit and do something to human beings, contribute in some way to their betterment and well-being. And I just wanted to do justice to my own domain. And instead of just keeping it in books, wanted to take it outside, apply to the community, and let everybody benefit out of the program. Just as you said, started off saying that Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, I also believe it in spirit and in word. So that's what I'm doing with correctional service.
Wow. So, ma'am, you've been working with so many different people, and you have a very close affiliation with individuals who have been challenged by their own circumstances and are at the threshold of discovering a new part of themselves when they come to your Unnati. So, just tell us a little bit about that process which is happening.
So I wish to express deep appreciation on behalf of myself and Unnati team to our DG Prisons, Telangana, Mr. Rajiv Trivedi. And I would also like to express my thanks to Antrix ISRO for giving us a grant. They support our program. I particularly like to um, thank Dr. Rakesh Shashibhushan and our focal point, Mr. Raghu Venkatraman, for supporting Unnati. They only give us a financial support, a partial support, but the entire team in the prisons, SPs and IGs, of course, with the DG's presence, there's so much of encouragement to carry on this. So at the outset, I would like to place this on record, and then I would start about it. Yeah. So I was part of Usmania University. I retired in 2015, and I started my journey in Unnati in 2015 because I went there at the behest of the then DG, and who was extremely encouraging in trying to help us with the program. I was pretty apprehensive initially because I was from university. I didn't know how to go about in handling this whole thing. I had to myself learn. I went with a very open mind, and then I realized that psychologists were coming together. My students, but I realized at some point we are from a different context altogether. We need to take some help, some input from the inmates themselves. If we are doing something with them, it is nice to involve them. And I always believed in participatory kind of a team where they will also have their share to contribute. And it worked extremely well because they came with so much enthusiasm, a new enthusiasm to take up this whole program. Though initially I had challenges that they were wondering why I'm coming, why I'm doing all these things. But then they became part of the process, and they became an extremely good contributors to the whole program because they were tweaking it in some way to make it better and better and better. So we evolved over these years, and now there are some modules which they pack it with the examples, live examples, and they have polished themselves to be very good facilitators in terms of their communication, in terms of their narration, and how is that the message needs to be delivered. Simple message is to give up on this antisocial acts and look forward for pro-social, because that's what is better for your well-being, your family's well-being, and for community well-being. So it's very complex once we start doing the whole program. It takes about 21 to 22 days of training. This is everything is done on a workshop mode and a simulation, a lot of activity based, highly interactive, and the lifers who happen to be inside the prison are some of the facilitators. They are the team, they are the Unnati team, and they drive the whole program. And the volunteers, I call them volunteers, and now some of the volunteers are released, and they come back sometimes with due permissions. They come back to take sessions, and so they are the resource persons. So we put a model together, we put cognitive process together. We want them to reflect. If you change, bring about an alternative thoughts in your mind, it would be better. Then it is possible for you to fix your alternative goals. Not that they don't have a goal, but they have to come up with their own alternative goals. So that's how we make it a reformation process internally, with about 13 to 14 modules they have, and all of them are meant for them. And because they do it, they capture it, they sum it up from their point of view, that is from the crime point of view, and not to be part of the crime point of view, and towards pro-social behavior.
Ma'am, just for those people who are listening and may not be so familiar with the jargon, how does cognitive psychologist work, and what are the tools available to a cognitive psychologist?
Yeah, it goes with the premise that there are a lot of problems are made because it is manufactured in your head, in your mind, and it is using the same head and same remanufacturing ideas, thoughts, big schemas or schemes which you have. How is it possible for you to reconstruct the whole thing, come out with the alternative ideas and thoughts, and see that these are, reflect on them, and see that these are the ones which will lead you to this consequence. So it's a slow process, but then it is a highly, it has yielded good result in prisons elsewhere. So, and I'm passionate about cognitive psychology, so I thought maybe this would be the best one. It is simple, it is easy to understand, it is very practical. It just comes in front of them. Look,
Yes.
your idea led to this behavior, and then this behavior again led to this idea. So this kind of a cycle which happens is put in front of them, and they understand, they see that. And because it is inside the prison, they are also like, they are free. I'm retired, I'm free. So equation is excellent for both of us. So we end up doing this at a very nice space, very cool place. We have an ambience, training ambience in the prison. So it becomes very congenial for learning. This is again cognitive, highly strategic. We planned
Yes.
that way.
Yes. So, ma'am, we were speaking earlier also about it, but then I would just like you to recount the initial uh, experience, uh, and how you brought dignity back to their lives.
So I went inside, and initially it was an attitude issue because they were wondering why I was coming, and they were also suspicious as to why I was coming. Once they realized, once they saw that they were treated like human beings, like students, created an ambience for them, and we were doing, the entire work was done with a lot of respect. We never used to discuss a lot about crime. We only tried to ask them what are their positive qualities, what is the good they have done, slowly get them to see these things, and who is that who is very good in their family, who is their model, whom do they like. So these are some things which made them, I mean, they had to give up thinking about crime, because as long as they are in the class, there nobody is talking about crime,
Right.
even though there are about 30 from the same, barrack or batches. And they had to really sit and put the other stuff away and
Mm.
start thinking about these things. So there's also a little bit of competition of who has done something very good.
Wow.
So that's how the whole thing started, and slowly it unfolds. The ones who used to sit right at the back would start coming, change their benches next time to come, change their places, come little forward, and ask questions.
Mm.
And we were very patient. And because, like big brothers, the lifers are the ones who are facilitators. They're also trained to be extremely gentle, even though they are inside because of tons of anger which they had, but they had to go through training where they have to completely moderate, speak with respect.
Yeah.
There is no are-ture in the class.
Mhm.
And if you cannot, you have some problem that day, don't come into the class. You're a trainer now. So they had to go through training discipline classes, and then only they were allowed to take a session or allowed to take a class.
So, ma'am, this is like sowing the seeds of change. So, what was happening in those classes for the trainers? What was the input that you gave to those
So
trainers?
there were, yeah, sorry. So there were many classes which were built to change cognitions, um, ideas to change, basically ideas to make them reflect a lot, make them reason out on the choices which they made and the consequences which they had. So we have sessions like make them visualize and make them reset goals. All are activity based. And then they also have something on alcohol addiction prevention, substance addiction prevention. And that is the session which the boys, older boys, the volunteers, whom I call them as facilitators from inside, they end up taking because they have great experience of what they have done with alcohol and how they landed themselves. So they give them their story, but they give them with a message that listen, look where I am stuck, how I am stuck. And now I don't even, I spend so much on alcohol, but now I don't know how to get out because I don't even have money for bail now. Nobody trusts me.
Mm.
So they take them gently on all these lines. Suicide prevention is another session which we end up doing. And then we have also on our request, they were kind enough to give us some modules from Prembravat's peace education program. So we end up doing those few sessions on choice and inner strength, hope, dignity, appreciation. So these are all also packed into this whole Unnati program, and we tweaked it to have some activity because these are all young chaps and they would like to jump around in the class and do something. So we always believe that even though it is cognition, if it has to be combined with the behavior, certain activities, perhaps it would sit in more strongly in their heads. So that's the reason why we've packed.
Mhm.
So this is how the class goes on. Dignity is primarily extremely important, as I see, in their lives, because in their own eyes they have lost dignity. So that needs to be restored.
Yes.
Hope is something which they would have lost, that needs to be restored. And we have to fortify the kind of choices which they make and reflect before they make any choice. And then they somehow begin to appreciate only their friends, but they are made to see how important family is and how they can appreciate. When they are released, these are some things which they have to keep in their mind and heart and be conscious about.
So, what kind of feedback have you been receiving from the people whom you've helped, ma'am?
So we've done because jail saw the benefit of this program initially. I was not so keen on continuing it. I thought I was going to do about a couple of batches and I would come out of it. But then when we saw that the target which was given to me by prison was that we need to address the recidivism,
Hmm.
to see how we can reduce their coming back to the prison, do something about it, do something professionally about it. That was the target which was given to me. So we planned this, and along with them I planned, because at some point I know it was a little shaky, because I was bringing something from academic context, from my college experience context, but I know to this community we need to bring in their own context. Examples have to be powerful, incidents and examples have to be quoted from their context. So then I had to take them, and they are extremely bright and beautiful. So they are part of the team, and they run the program. So I'm happy. And a point came when we had to upscale the program to more batches and more prisons. Then I said I require more members in the team. They said, do what you would want to do. So I went around to different central prisons, and I got some lifers who are smart, brought them to one prison and did more training for them. And then they went back to their own prisons, and then they started doing their program, Unnati. So that's how the program was spread to about 10 prisons. Now,
Wow.
because of COVID, we are now not not doing
Mhm.
with that volume, but then we are doing in some of the central prisons. It's still going on. So this was how it was. I hope I answered what you
Yes.
asked.
And it is like, getting rid of an old belief system and replacing it with something new is a very big challenge by itself. So did you face a lot of resistance from the trainees, let's
My
call them that? Yes.
Yeah, so initially there was a lot of suspicion, and there was a lot of hesitation on everybody's side,
Were they questioning
except
what you were doing?
myself. Yeah, so they were like, what do you think you will do, and why are you wasting our time, and nobody will change, and this is not a happening thing. You're wasting time, they're not even paying you, why are you coming?
Mm.
Whether there are any relatives of yours, whether you yourself were into prison any time in your life,
Really?
because you have this kind of empathy, sympathy and all that. So I
Mhm.
said, no, I don't even belong anywhere to police or any such place.
Mm.
So when they saw the results, the authorities saw results, and slowly there was little improvement happening on
Mm.
part of the participants. That was my trump card.
Mm.
So then they say, okay, now can you do more? Can you do more? So what do you want? If you have to do two batches, if you have to do simultaneously three batches in a prison, what is that you require? So I became a big negotiator with them.
Mm.
Then I started asking, okay, give me this, give me that, everything for them, nothing. I was not taking anything back home. So they saw the meaning in that. They saw the ambience, and they saw the prison's culture is slowly changing. Warders were happy because there's less violence and people are behaving differently. I remember in one of the prisons, the SP was asking, what do you do? But why these fellows were so rough, and now they came back from the training and they're so mellowed down.
Mm.
I said, how are you seeing that there is a change in them? They said, earlier they used to come and demand a lot of things. Now they talk with respect,
Wow.
even to the officials. Now they talk with respect. And then we had, over a period of time, we are showing constantly the data which
Mm.
we are generating, because we keeping track of Unnati data. So it was going in thousands and thousands, and in just two digits, people were returning. For a long time, it was single digit
Mm.
return. So now, of course, we are about 6,000 and odd released out of 7,000
Wonderful.
and odd, and we have about 87 who've returned, and we are very, very seriously focusing on what could have happened to them having gone through the program.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our second project now, which we
So
need to
amazing.
do.
Congratulations on this amazing thing you're
Thank you.
doing, ma'am. Wonderful. Um, like when I'm looking at you, there is so many things that are coming back to me, and there are so many thank yous that I want to say. So when they connect to you, once they finish the training process, what is some of the best feedback you heard from them individually?
Um, that they're extremely happy, and they have left alcohol is the second thing. They don't go back to the same old friends who literally got them into all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to live their life with their family very meaningfully, and they don't want to indulge in any. They come back and tell me all kinds of stories. I found this and I went back and I reported this, and then I don't want to pick up any rift from the person who was against me. All of us were inside, but now they are out and I'm inside, and I'll be going out, and I just don't want to have anything to do with the crime anymore. So they have left a lot of these things, and that makes me immensely happy. Then I feel this is my motivation for me. Then I shouldn't stop. Sometimes I suddenly tell them, okay, let's stop Unnati program. They look at me, strange look they give. Why? Why do you want to stop? We are all there. You want to go conferencing, you go, you do the program. We are there, we will run the program. So now I realize that they have owned up this program. They want it for their brothers. They say that this is how we are able to contribute to their family. And in the bargain, we feel our family is benefiting out of this.
Wow, this
They
is
go
what
back on parole, furlough. Yeah.
transformational leadership is about, and I think, ma'am, that's what you've been doing. You're making each one of them leaders in
Yeah,
their own rights,
I don't
and
even want to use jargon like the way you said, but I know that some of them are leaders. They are leaders.
yes,
They have that charisma to bring people together and get things done in a wrong way. But the same guys also have that same charisma to
yes,
help people to come out. They are the best ambassadors.
yeah.
When they go out, they are the best ambassadors of Unnati.
And I think that sense of empowerment which you are giving them, that they can be this other person and do it successfully, must be so amazing for them to experience. Is there anything in
Yeah,
particular
I
that,
don't.
yes,
I don't do so much. I don't do, but it's just that they alter themselves. They needed direction, little bit of those triggers which they required from the positive side,
mm,
and they will sail across.
mhm.
There is
So,
a lot of regret in them.
yeah, yeah. Yes, I was about to ask you that. How do they deal with
There
that?
is, I do see, they cry. I mean, they shed tears a lot. They get upset. They think of those apparently the victims whom they have harmed, and they also would like to go back to them and do something for them, but they are a little inhibited on that, how they would end up taking. We don't have any restorative justice programs or anybody who can intervene and do that kind of a patchwork, which I think very important. If they get that sense, I
Hmm.
think there could be a very beautiful closure. I
Yes.
know people, a lot of people ask me for this. There will be closure on both ends to a human being.
Yes.
It's part of this their life. I don't know when we can do that, but if somebody can take it up and we do this and they come back to this agency, maybe they should be able to take it forward, facilitate that. Very important.
That's such a precious suggestion that you've shared, ma'am. I'm just hoping that someone who's listening in is also in a position to do something about this and be a part of.
I would definitely look forward. I would look forward for some one person who can come forward and take this seriously,
Yes.
hold their hand,
Yes.
hold apparently the victim hand, because by being inside they were victims too. Because sometimes they tell me, who are the victims? We are victims too. 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, we are stuck, missing so many things. Yes, what we've done, but we regret.
Yes. Yes.
There is a special session which we have it in Unnati
Mm-hmm.
about trying to tap their regret, sense of regret, remorse, and what do they feel and how do they feel this. They do a drama in that there are a lot of times I see that regret happens, remorse happens, catharsis takes place. It's their script, it is their drama, they are the actors, they are the audience, and they enjoy, but then there is a sense of, why have we done this?
Yes. Um, Once they come out and they have been transformed, but the society is really not so sure about that. What do you think can be done about this, ma'am? How should we convey the message to the outside world?
So, in order to bring about some confidence in the community, perhaps they will come outside to talk about it, and somebody will have to give them a comfortable platform where they can tell that, look, this is what has happened, and I'm not like that anymore. So
Yes.
this can instill some confidence in the community that they are harmless, because they don't want to continue to be with the criminal attitudes, criminal acts, criminal behavior. They don't want to. They are now changed. They don't want to indulge in that, but give them a chance,
Yes.
a second chance.
And that label should not stick. We should
Yeah.
give them an opportunity to, acquire a new identity and start their lives afresh. Mm. So,
They also must learn to hold their head high, dignified. Okay, what is done has been done, but then uh, I am not that. There are a lot of times there is huge stigma. People don't want to invite you. They don't want to have you around, and they're very scared of you. But bear with that for some time. Let
yes,
people see that you are changed. So you also have to
yes,
be patient. Overnight, it cannot happen. So we teach them all this. Their released prisoners come back to tell them that, listen, your blood will boil for all these things, but then
mhm,
hold on, because if you don't want to come back, then you have to bear with certain things.
yes.
Don't again pick up another brawl.
Yeah. Is there a kind of a refresher or some kind of evaluation mechanism also in place? In the sense that,
Yes, they evaluate the program. Um, Sometimes inmates evaluate the program. We have something called as academic audit. I have a dozen psychologists coming, sitting over there, and we do a presentation. We show them what the results is, what they are doing. They present, they do a presentation, and they have a psychology department inside for them now, and they are all now getting very
wow,
charged, and they will do their own conference and conclave. We go around presenting our data, and they are the voice. Sometimes we get guests from outside and from other agencies. When we end up getting, they are the ones who will talk to them.
it's absolutely amazing to hear about the work that you're doing, ma'am, and such a privilege that we could share the story of Unnati. Wishing Unnati, more and more Unnati in the new year. Do you have a special story for us?
I have an extremely beautiful story for you of a person who's there. You can see him on the screen. Um, See him on the screen, and he's a very special person. He's with his family. He's got an 8-year-old daughter, and extremely smart, um, and very good speaker. And he comes as a resource person to
Wow.
prison to talk to the boys inside. And this is one part of him, but he is out of the prison for about 3 years. This is his life now. And earlier he was a hardcore who was into the prison several times. Um, but now he's zero substance, zero alcohol, zero everything, but
Wonderful.
settled completely beautifully with his family. So I'm telling what he is now and what he was. So was is gone. That's what he is. And you can ask him questions. He's there with us. He comes as a resource person. He's a very beautiful speaker and a very wonderful. He's one of our special star resource persons, I would say. So you can direct your conversation to him. Thanks for being with us. I don't want to mention his name.
वेलकम टू एक संवाद, आपका स्वागत है। और जो आपकी स्टोरी है वो हम आपसे ही सुनना चाहते हैं। कैसे आपका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुआ एंड क्या कहना चाहते हैं आप इस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के बारे में, कैसे हुआ? बिकॉज पहले जो थे अब वो नहीं है, तो जो नए वाले हैं वो हाउ वाज ही बोर्न?
मैम मैन्युफैक्चर किए मैंने, फिर न्यू।
यस, शी इज अ चेंज मेकर, शी इज डूइंग इट टू सो मेनी पीपल। यस, हाँ
मदर ऑफ जेल।
हाँ। तो अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करिए, कैसे जब पहली बार मैम से मिले तो आपको क्या लगा कि ये प्रोफेसर यहाँ पर आके क्या करेंगी, एंड ये बुक से पढ़ के आते हैं, यहाँ पर कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं। देखिए, हम लोग क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि जो बुक्स में लिखा है, जो रिसर्च हो रहा है, जो मैम जैसे लोग हैं जो इतना दे हैव सो मच नॉलेज ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट, वो उसको अप्लाई करके सोसाइटी को बेनिफिट कर सकते हैं। दिस आइडिया हम लोग शेयर करना चाह रहे हैं। तो आपकी लाइफ में वो कैसे हुआ, वो बताइए। सबसे पहले तो ये बताइए कि मैम जब आए और आपने पहली बार उनके साथ इंटरेक्ट किया तो आपको कैसा लगा?
थोड़ा गलत बात किया मैडम से। मैं बोला मैम आप टाइम पास मत करो, जाओ अपने ऑफिस में बैठो और सैलरी आएगा ले लेके अपने अपने घर में चल जाओ। बोला मैं।
ओके।
बोला तो मतलब वो जब मैं सोचा कि इंसान को ऐसा कैसे चेंज कर सकते,
करेक्ट।
चार अच्छे बात आप बोले तो इंसान चेंज हो जाता क्या? हमारे नजर में क्या है, पुलिस 4 डंडे मारो तो ही इंसान चेंज होगा।
राइट।
वो बात गलत है, जो कि मैडम प्रूव करें नए इंसान बातों को सुन। और क्या हुआ, हमारा जो क्लास स्टार्ट हुआ उसी दिन कुछ केरला कुछ और दूसरा स्टेट से कोई लोग आए थे। वो लोग आके पूछे क्या कर रहे हैं आप लोग, क्या कर यहाँ क्यों बैठे हुए? मैं बोला कुछ मैजिक है कहते यहाँ पे, ऐसे देख इंसान से बात करके इंसान को चेंज करते करते। वो क्या मैजिक है देखने के लिए आया हूँ। मतलब मैम मैं ऐसी रफली बात करता हूँ किसी से भी, चाहे कोई भी रहने दो। मैं ऐसे बोला डीजी हो तो कोई भी हो तो क्या बोला या कुछ मैजिक है देखने के लिए आया हूँ। ठीक है, ये मैजिक क्या है, पूरा लेसन कंप्लीट होने के बाद हम फिर मिलेंगे आपको, ये मैजिक क्या हो रहा है इसमें हमें बताओ। तो पूरे लेसन कंप्लीट होने के बाद उसमें मैजिक कुछ नहीं है, मिरर बता रहे हमें मैडम। एक मिरर लाके बता रहे आप ये है, तुम्हारे से ये होता, जो इनर स्ट्रेंथ है, जो गोल सेटिंग है, हमारा गोल क्या है, मेरा स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, मेरे से क्या होता क्या नहीं, मेरे अंदर जो छुपे हुआ है सब मेरे को निकाल के बताएंगे। एक फर्स्ट क्लास होने के बाद मैडम से बोला मैडम अगर आप चेंज करने आए ना, आप मेरे फैमिली को मेरे को दे सकते क्या? बोलो मैं बैठता हूँ, आपको जो बोले वो करता हूँ। 1-to-1 काउंसलिंग हुआ मैडम से। उसके बाद बोले मैडम मैडम क्या है, फर्स्ट मेरे से बात करते और क्या है तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है। मेरे बाद मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा, 6 इयर्स के बाद दुनिया नया दिख रहा। मुझे ऐसा लगा ये अपना तेलंगाना है क्या नहीं। 4 दीवार है मैडम, लाइफ कुछ नहीं है मेरा। सुबह हुआ तो नाश्ता आता, दोपहर में तो खाना आता, शाम में तो फिर 5 बजे खाना। इतना ही मालूम था 6 साल।
राइट।
तो आफ्टर 6 ईयर मैम बोले देख हम लोगों को भी एक मौका दे के देखो, एक मौका तो देखो, अगर नहीं होता तो अपना अपना जैसा चल रहा वैसे कर लो, आप तुम्हारी मर्जी से जो भी कुछ कर लेते हम आड़े नहीं आएंगे। मैं बोला बाहर निकलने का मैम फिर मैं कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या करूंगी, मुझे तो कुछ काम आता नहीं। बोला तो मैडम बोले ठीक है, अभी थोड़ा माइंड रिलीफ होने के लिए टाइम लगता, अपना जो जेल डिपार्टमेंट जो पेट्रोल पंप लगा है उसमें 3 महीने के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ। कुछ उसके अंदर कुछ रास्ता दिखेगा। मुझे 3 महीने ऐसे ही कंटिन्यू किया। 3 महीने करने के बाद मुझे एक आराम आराम से एक रास्ता मिल गया। आज के दिन मैडम के दुआ से एक कार ले ली हूँ। मगर लेकिन तो मैम मैं पूछा खाली मैडम मेरे को मेरे घर वालों से मिला सकते क्या? मैडम बोले घर वालों को गिफ्ट दे दिया मुझे। सबसे ज्यादा खुश है मैडम हमारे घर वाले। घर वाले तो कभी सोचे नहीं मैं अपने गांव में अपने घर में मतलब क्या है चोरी छुप के आना, रात को आना, रातों रात चले जाना, ऐसा हो रहा था। हमारे घर वाले मेरी वाइफ क्या बोले, कुछ मत करो, मुझे खाली मेरे लिए घर अपने घर के सामने अपनी बेटी का बर्थडे करो। मतलब क्या है अभी डरते डरते जीने का जीने। तो आज तो एक तीसरा बर्थडे मैडम घर वालों के साथ अपने घर में किसी को नहीं डर के इतना लाइफ एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ अभी। और क्या हो जा रहा है मैडम से मुझे कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आया। कुछ कंफ्यूजन दिख रहा था। कोसी भी रहती है तो मैडम को फोन करते मुझे मैम ऐसा कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा बोले तो मैडम कुछ सजेशन देते उसके लिए। एनी टाइम मैडम उसके लिए तो मैडम कितना भी काम करो मेरे लिए 1 आवर टाइम देते फोन। तो क्या है कि धीरे 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 दिमाग ऐसा हो गया। अभी अब मेरे ऑपरेशन बहुत है मैडम। उन लोगों को अपने आप सॉरी बोल के उन लोगों से अपने आप मिलने के लिए ऐसा तैयार हो गया मैं आगे वालों से अपने में मिला ले। चल मेरे से कुछ गलती हुआ, जानबूझ के नहीं हुआ, सॉरी बोल के ऐसा कर रहे हैं। किधर जाने वाला है।
आपकी चेहरे की खुशी देखने से बहुत एक अलग एक्सपीरियंस हो रहा है क्योंकि दिस इज लाइक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होने के बाद किसी का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो हम लोग इन द लाइव सेशन देख रहे हैं। सो जब ये जो स्विच हुआ ना आपको लग रहा था पहले कि क्या करेंगे, प्रोफेसर है यहाँ आके क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे, किस चीज से मैथ की कौन सी चीज ने आपको फिर ये भरोसा दिलाया कि नहीं हम चेंज हो सकते हैं?
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोल सकते। मैं जितने भी एक्सरसाइज है उसमें जितने भी हर चीज दिमाग में मैं जो फर्स्ट छोटे छोटे एक्सरसाइज मेरे लिए मैं चरलापल्ली जेल में 2000 लोग रहते। 2000 लोगों में आए तो रास्ते से साइड साइड देते। मैं उतना ऐसा था तो एक कुछ उसमें क्या है छोटा सा एक्सरसाइज है वो। आगे एक टीम बनाते 5 मेंबर्स का टीम बना के आगे वाले के ऊपर ओपिनियन है क्या है ऐसा पूछे तो क्या है आगे वाले में पूरे हर कोई नेगेटिव लिख के डाल दिया उसमें नाम नहीं रहता ना। तो एक बंदा लिखा हाँ हेल्पिंग नेचर ऐसा कुछ मेरे लिए पॉजिटिव बोला था। क्या है इंसान माइंड सोचने लगता है ऐसा ऐसा हल्लू हल्लू। अभी जो गोल सेटिंग है जो गोल सेटिंग में अपना गोल कहाँ तक है क्या है हम अपने से होता नहीं होता अपना स्ट्रेंथ क्या है। और अल्कोहल बोलते हैं अल्कोहल में तो डेली 10,000 का ड्रग लेते। आज के दिन आज के दिन मेरे साथ बैठ के कोई लोग पिए तो भी मेरे को सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट नहीं है उसके ऊपर।
ओके
असल
ये जो आपका एक्सपीरियंस है ना, ये जो आपका एक्सपीरियंस है इसके बारे में थोड़ा शेयर करिए ताकि कोई भी जो सुन रहे हैं उनको पता चले कि ये ऐसे हो सकता है चेंज। मतलब जो बिल्कुल एडिक्टेड है वो भी उसको छोड़ के एंड सी व्हाट यू आर सेइंग ना कि अभी आपको बिल्कुल नहीं लगता है क्योंकि आपको इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहा। तो इसके बारे में बोलिए।
हर अभी जितने भी लोग क्राइम करके आते ना मैडम जो हैबिचुअल्स रहते ना वो लोगों को हर किसी को चेंज होना बोल के रहता। लेकिन क्या है उन लोगों को सोसाइटी नजदीक नहीं आने देते। अभी जो सोसाइटी नजदीक नहीं आने देते बोलने का मतलब क्यों आने देते हम कौन सा अच्छा काम करें। हाँ ना मैम हम कौन सा अच्छा काम करें किसी के लिए अपने घर वालों के लिए नहीं सोचे तो सोसाइटी क्यों आने देते। तो थोड़ी दिन एडजस्ट होना, थोड़ी दिन अपने आप को कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लेना आराम से चारों के अब आगे वाला अपने से बात करेंगे तो अपना अपने अंदर क्या है आगे वाले को मालूम होगा ना। तो थोड़ी दिन एडजस्ट होना। सोसाइटी बोलेंगे ये ये राउडी है बोलेंगे चोर है बोलेंगे कुछ भी बोलेंगे थोड़े दिन आराम आराम से अपने अपन अपना चेंज अपने बिहेवियर चेंज हुआ, क्योंकि आगे वाले को मालूम होना चाहिए। जब तक अपन थोड़ा कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गए, थोड़ा एडजस्ट हो गए, तो सोसाइटी अपने आप नजदीक लेती। अभी देखो, मैं मेरे से कौन लोग डरते थे, वो लोग आज मेरे पास रोज आते।
और जैसे आप
मतलब चेंज पहले अपने में ला लेना। चेंज मैडम करते, लेकिन दिल से अपने को भी करना बोल के है ना इरादा। जब आगे वाले को खाने का इरादा नहीं है तो कितना भी खिलाए तो क्या फायदा। लेकिन जितना मैडम दिमाग में घुस जाके काउंसलिंग करते ना मैडम, डेंजर है वो। कैसे भी लोग हो मैडम, मैं पत्थर हूँ मैडम, नहीं, लेकिन ये ऐसा पत्थर को एक अच्छा शेप कर सकते बोल के मैडम प्रूफ करे। ऐसे लोग और बहुत लोग हैं। मेरे मेरे टीम के लोग इतने लोग हैं अभी, सबको चेंज करे ऑलरेडी मैडम। जब वो मैं अंदर एक रिटर्न प्रिजनर 18 मेंबर्स ओनली हैबिचुअल्स रेगुलर आने वाले कई 100 लोग रहते थे। जब का रिजल्ट मैं जैसा मेरा क्लास होने के बाद फिर भी मैं उसमें ही कंटिन्यू किया। मैं बाहर निकले तक उन्नति में था। मैं हर मैं ऐसा मुझे सुबह 6 बजे उठाते ना मैम, मुझे नहीं उठाते थे। ऐसा पर्सन मैं आके उन लोगों के लिए कुछ हेल्प करते। मुझे बोले, जेल स्टाफ भी बोले, थोड़े लोग रहते ना, वो बोले तू क्या सुधारता रे, वो बातों से तू सुधारता बोले थे। मैडम की ये बात बोले तो मैडम बोले चल ऐसे ही बोलते, सबर कर, इसका रिजल्ट आएगा जब अपने आप उन लोग तेरे साथ सामने आके सॉरी बोलेंगे। सेम हुआ ना मैडम, वैसे मैं फिर बाहर से मैं क्लास लेने अंदर गया था, प्रेसिडेंट से बात करने के लिए अंदर गया था, और वाह, तो बाहर से एक विजिटर जैसा आया, ग्रेट है बोले। जो कांस्टेबल मेरे से बोला वही कांस्टेबल वो बात बोला।
वाओ, बहुत बहुत ही बड़ी बात है। और ये जो सबसे अच्छी बात तो ये है कि ये एक्चुअली हो गया। इट्स नॉट इन द बुक्स, इट्स हैपनिंग इन रियल लाइफ। और कुछ कहना चाहते हैं आप बिफोर वी कंक्लूड द सेशन?
है मैं अभी वो लोग सोच रहे हैं प्रिजन को हम लोग चेंज कर रहे हैं, और उन लोग अपने आप मीडिया में दे ले रहे हैं हम चेंज कर रहे हैं। वो लोगों को मालूम होना कि ये बाहर से नहीं हो रहा, अंदर आने के बाद उन्नति की तरफ से हो रहा। ये सोसाइटी को मालूम होना चाहिए और पब्लिक को मालूम हो के अभी क्या है, जो हमारा जो अंदर काउंसलिंग चल रहा है ना, ऐसे एक काउंसलिंग सेंटर बाहर भी लगा के जो प्रेजेंट एक्टिविटीज रहते ना, अभी +1 +2 के लड़के, उन लोगों को कुछ क्राइम होने से पहले काउंसलिंग देना है। ऐसा कुछ हुआ तो अच्छा रहेगा। मतलब अंदर जो होना है होके अंदर जाने के बाद काउंसलिंग देने से क्या फायदा है। कुछ होने से पहले रोके तो इसको सोसाइटी सब मिलके, डिपार्टमेंट भी हों दो, गवर्नमेंट भी हों दो, सब लोग सपोर्ट करके ये जो अभी एक्टिविटीज ऐसी, अब बच्चे लोग बिगड़ जा रहे हैं। अभी कोस किधर भी जाओ, हर घर में एक लड़का गांजा पी रहा, शराब पी रहा। माँ घर वालों को नहीं मालूम, मालूम रख के भी वो लोग कुछ बोल रहे नहीं। तो ये ऐसा कुछ करे तो उन लोगों को कुछ होने से पहले उन लोगों को रोक ले सकते ना। हाँ, बस मेरा सजेशन ये एक थैंक यू। मतलब क्या है, जो होना है होने के बाद सब लोग प्रॉब्लम फेस करने से पहले थोड़े दिन ये रियाब का जैसा, अभी जो रियाब सेंटर्स रहते ना, ऐसा ला लेके छोटे छोटे सेशंस रहते, उन लोगों को भी बच्चों को टाइम पास लगता है। ये ऐसा लगता है कि टाइम पास एक एंजॉयमेंट दिखता, राइट। उसमें कुछ ऐसी सब वो लोग ही करने का रहता, पूरा अपना हाथ निकाल के अपने सिर में रखते मैम। राइट, हो सके तो बस बाहर कुछ ऐसे एक मैं आने के बाद मैम, जितने मेरे साथ बच्चे हैं 200-300 मेंबर्स बच्चे हैं मेरे हाथ। 3 इयर्स में वो जितने भी लोग हैं ना, उन लोगों के नाम एक भी केस नहीं हुआ।
कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस। इससे अच्छा फीडबैक नहीं मिल सकता है ना ट्रेनर को। एज ए ट्रेनर तो आपको बहुत सेटिस्फैक्शन मिला होगा। Wonderful.
हाँ
Wonderful.
या
थैंक यू सो मच. आपने अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर किया और आपने एक मैम डजंट नीड अ सर्टिफिकेट, पर हम लोग जैसे जो बाहर है, जो लोग जिनको पता नहीं है कि कितना काम हो रहा है, और कॉग्निटिव साइकोलॉजी का जो प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन है उसका एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल है ये, कि पूरा ट्रांसफॉर्म हो गई लाइफ. राइट. एंड ऑल द बेस्ट. आपको हम लोग की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. Wishing you success in whatever you
थैंक यू.
lead a happy life and be blessed. Great. So we'll conclude the session. Thank you for your time. Ma'am, thank you so much. I don't know how I can express my gratitude, क्योंकि what you're doing is amazing, and I wish that people like you keep changing the world and making it a better place. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for giving us this opportunity. Me and on behalf of uh, the boy and myself, I would like to really express that you have given us this kind of a visibility, and hopefully there'll be many more chances where we can take them to this kind of platforms, so that people can understand
Yes.
how the change is possible and how our model psychology are not empty, and it's not that they need to be shelved. They can be applied, and they can be big contributors for well-being of individuals and the society, and they can be at peace. Their homes can really benefit from the boys who go back and earn lawfully.
Yes. Yes.
So thanks a lot,
Thank you,
and
ma'am.
good day to you.
Thank you. Thank you so
And thank you
much.
so much.
थैंक यू.
Thank you for being
Thanks a
here.
lot to the viewers. Yeah, namaskar.
Thank you.